Captain Sarah Anders paced the bridge of the horizon, her pulse quickening with anticipation. Beside her, Lieutenant Jackson fidgeted nervously, his eyes fixed on the viewscreen, displaying the mysterious alien vessel that loomed ahead. "Ensign Patel, open communication channels," Sarah commanded, her voice betraying none of the nervousness that churned in her stomach. "Aye, Captain," Patel replied, her fingers flying across the console as she initiated the transmission. The tension on the bridge was palpable as they waited for a response from the unknown beings aboard the alien ship. Sarah gripped the railing, her mind racing with 1,000 possibilities, each more daunting than the last. Then, a crackle of static filled the air, followed by a series of strange clicks and chirps that echoed through the speakers. The universal translator sprang to life, attempting to decipher the alien language. "Greetings, beings of the blue planet," came a voice, distorted yet strangely melodic. "We are the Zilthara. Welcome to the Galactic Assembly." Sarah exchanged a glance with Jackson, both of them at a loss for words. This was it, the moment they had trained for, dreamed of, feared. Now it was up to them to represent humanity in this historic encounter. Hello," Sarah began tentatively, her voice echoing through the communication channel. "I'm Captain Sarah Anders of the spaceship Horizon. We come in peace." There was a pause, then a flurry of activity on the Zilthara ship as they responded in their incomprehensible language. Sarah strained to make sense of it, her brow furrowing in frustration. "Ensign Patel, see if you can get a clearer translation," she instructed, her heart pounding in her chest. Patel nodded, her fingers dancing across the console as she adjusted the settings on the universal translator. After a moment, the alien speech came through with slightly more clarity, though it still sounded like gibberish to Sarah. "I think they're asking us something about socks," Patel said, her brow furrowed in confusion. "Socks?" Sarah repeated, incredulous. "What on earth do socks have to do with anything?" Before anyone could offer an answer, a loud beep sounded from the communication console, indicating an incoming message from the Zilthara ship. Sarah hesitated for a moment, then pressed the button to accept the transmission. Captain Anders," came a hesitant voice over the speakers. This is embarrassing, but it seems there's been a bit of a misunderstanding. You see, our translators seem to be malfunctioning, and we're having some trouble understanding your language." Sarah let out a nervous laugh, feeling the tension in the air begin to dissipate. "Well, that makes two of us," she replied, her voice laced with relief. "But hey, no worries, we'll figure this out together, right?" As the crew of the Horizon and the Zilthara ship worked together to troubleshoot the communication problem, Sarah couldn't help but marvel at the absurdity of it all. Here they were, two vastly different species, trying to bridge the gap between them with nothing but a malfunctioning translator and a healthy dose of goodwill. Maybe, just maybe, humanity wasn't so different from the Zilthara after all. Chapter 2. Cultural Clashes. The air crackled with anticipation as Captain Sarah Anders and her crew stepped onto the sleek, metallic deck of the Zilthara ship. They were greeted by a delegation of alien beings, their forms towering and shimmering in the artificial light. Sarah squared her shoulders, determined to make a good impression. "Greetings, honored guests," said the leader of the Zilthara, their voice echoing in the spacious chamber. "We welcome you aboard our vessel." "Thank you for having us," Sarah replied, trying to keep her tone diplomatic despite her nerves. As they were led deeper into the ship, the crew of the Horizon couldn't help but marvel at their surroundings. Everything seemed to pulse with energy, from the walls adorned with intricate patterns to the strange plants that lined the corridors. Their first stop was the Gilthara's central chamber, where a lavish banquet had been prepared in their honor. Sarah exchanged a nervous glance with Lieutenant Jackson as they took their seats at the ornate table, surrounded by curious alien dignitaries. The meal began, and Sarah quickly realized that navigating the Gilthara's customs would be no easy task. Strange, gelatinous dishes were placed before them, emitting bizarre odors that made her stomach churn. She forced a smile and picked up her utensils, trying to mimic the elegant movements of their hosts. Captain," whispered Jackson, poking at his food with a look of disgust. "I don't think I can eat this." "Try to be polite, Lieutenant," Sarah murmured back, her own appetite waning by the second. But their troubles were only just beginning. As the evening wore on, the crew of the Horizon found themselves stumbling from one cultural faux pas to another. Ensign Patel accidentally insulted their hosts by mistaking a revered artifact for a decorative trinket, while Dr. Chen inadvertently triggered a minor diplomatic incident by attempting to examine one of the Gilthara's sacred plants. Through it all, Sarah tried to maintain her composure, but tensions were rising with each passing moment. She could see the frustration on the faces of their Gilthara hosts, their shimmering forms growing more agitated by the minute. "Captain, we need to do something," whispered Lieutenant Jackson, his eyes wide with alarm. Sarah nodded, her mind racing for a solution. They couldn't afford to let this diplomatic exchange end in disaster, not when the fate of humanity's relationship with the Gilthara hung in the balance. "Everyone, listen up," she said, raising her voice to be heard over the din of conversation. "We need to find a way to salvage this situation before it's too late." But as the crew of the Horizon scrambled to make amends, they soon realized that repairing the damage they had done would be easier said than done. Chapter 3. Alien Antics. Captain Sarah Anders gripped the edge of her seat as the Horizon and the Gilthara vessel glided side by side through the inky blackness of space. The joint mission to explore the nearby asteroid field was underway, and the crew's earlier cultural blunders were momentarily forgotten in the excitement of the new adventure. "All systems go, Captain," reported Ensign Patel from the communications console. "We're ready to begin the survey." "Excellent," Sarah replied, her voice steady. "Let's show them what we're capable of." On the viewscreen, the asteroid field loomed ahead, a sprawling collection of rocky fragments tumbling through space. The Gilthara ship, sleek and agile, moved gracefully among the asteroids, while the Horizon followed with a slightly more cautious approach. "Remember, everyone," Sarah called out to her crew, "we're working together with the Gilthara. Keep your eyes open and stay alert." Lieutenant Jackson, stationed at the navigation console, nodded. "Got it, Captain. Let's make sure we don't bump into anything we can't handle." The first few minutes of the mission passed smoothly, with both ships exchanging data and maneuvering through the asteroid field with practiced precision. But it wasn't long before the crew of the Horizon encountered their first obstacle. "Captain, I'm picking up some unusual readings from that large asteroid ahead," said Dr. Chen, peering intently at her monitor. "It looks like there's some sort of electromagnetic interference." "Can we get a closer look?" Sarah asked. The Gilthara ship responded first, sending a probe to investigate. As the probe approached the asteroid, it suddenly veered off course, its systems scrambled by the interference. "Whoa, did you see that?" Jackson exclaimed. "Looks like we've got a bit of a wild ride ahead of us." "Let's not get too carried away," Sarah cautioned. "Patel, can you analyze the interference?" "I'm on it, Captain," Patel replied, fingers flying over the controls. "Looks like it's a natural phenomenon, but it's definitely causing some navigational challenges." As they moved deeper into the asteroid field, the challenges multiplied. Strange, bioluminescent creatures emerged from crevices in the asteroids, their glowing forms darting around the ships in mesmerizing patterns. "Captain, are those space jellyfish?" Jackson asked, eyes wide with wonder. "Whatever they are, they're beautiful," Sarah said, unable to suppress a smile. "But let's keep our distance. We don't want to startle them." The Gilthara ship signaled an intention to collect samples from the creatures, and Sarah agreed to assist. Working together, the crews deployed a series of delicate probes to gather data without disturbing the alien life forms. As they navigated the perils of the asteroid field, the humans and Gilthara began to bond over their shared experiences. The alien delegation, initially wary of the human crew after their cultural missteps, warmed up as they worked together to solve problems and overcome obstacles. "Lieutenant Jackson, can you believe we're out here doing this?" Ensign Patel said with a grin, as they adjusted the ship's trajectory to avoid a particularly large asteroid. "Exploring uncharted space with aliens?" "It's pretty incredible, Patel," Jackson replied, a note of awe in his voice. "Just goes to show that we can achieve amazing things when we work together." Meanwhile, in the Gilthara ship, Sarah was deep in conversation with their leader, Shalketh. Despite the language barrier, they managed to communicate through a mix of gestures and the universal translator. "This mission, it brings us closer," Shalketh said, their voice resonating with a harmonious quality. "Shared goals, shared challenges." "Absolutely," Sarah agreed. "It's not always easy, but I think we're learning a lot from each other." Their camaraderie was put to the test when a sudden surge of energy from a nearby asteroid caused a cascade of smaller rocks to break loose, pelting both ships with debris. "Brace for impact!" Sarah shouted as the horizon shuddered under the barrage. The Gilthara ship deftly dodged the larger chunks, sending out a signal to the horizon to follow their lead. Sarah and her crew scrambled to adjust their course, narrowly avoiding disaster thanks to their alien counterparts' quick thinking. "Nice save," Jackson said, wiping sweat from his brow. "Those Gilthara really know their stuff." As the mission continued, the humans and Gilthara faced more challenges, from navigating through dense asteroid clusters to dealing with unexpected mechanical failures. Through it all, humor and teamwork prevailed, with both crews learning to appreciate each other's strengths and quirks. By the end of the mission, Sarah felt a renewed sense of hope for the future of human-Gilthara relations. They had faced the unknown together and emerged stronger for it. "Good work, everyone," she said, addressing both crews. "We've proven that we can overcome any obstacle when we stand united." Shalketh nodded in agreement. "Together, we achieve greatness." As the Horizon and the Gilthara ship set a course back to their respective bases, Sarah couldn't help but smile. The journey had been fraught with challenges, but it had also been filled with laughter and newfound friendships. Chapter 4. The Great Debate. The Horizon touched down at Earth's primary spaceport, and Captain Sarah Anders could already feel the weight of the world settling on her shoulders. The successful mission with the Gilthara had only amplified the intensity of the debate back home. Political leaders, scientists, and the media swarmed the crew as they disembarked, eager for answers and sensational stories. "Captain Anders, over here!" a journalist shouted, thrusting a microphone toward her face. "What can you tell us about the Gilthara?" "Please, no questions right now," Sarah replied, pushing through the crowd with her crew. "We need to debrief first." The debriefing session was held in a high-tech conference room at the spaceport, with representatives from various governmental and scientific bodies in attendance. Sarah and her crew were seated at a long table facing a panel of stern-faced officials. "Captain Anders, it's imperative that you provide us with a detailed account of your interactions with the Gilthara," demanded Senator Langston, a vocal skeptic of alien engagement. "Of course, Senator," Sarah said, taking a deep breath. "The Gilthara are highly intelligent and technologically advanced. Our joint mission in the asteroid field demonstrated their commitment to peaceful cooperation." Dr. Maria Santos, a leading scientist and proponent of cultural exchange, leaned forward. "Captain, what insights did you gain about Gilthara culture and society? Can you share any specific experiences that highlight their nature?" Sarah recounted their initial meeting, the cultural misunderstandings, and the eventual bonding during their shared mission. "It wasn't always smooth sailing," she admitted, "but we learned to appreciate our differences and work together effectively." "But what about the potential dangers?" interrupted General Brooks, representing the military. "We can't ignore the possibility that the Gilthara could pose a threat. We need to be cautious." Lieutenant Jackson, unable to stay silent any longer, interjected. "General, with all due respect, we faced challenges together, and they proved to be trustworthy allies. They saved our skins more than once out there." A heated discussion erupted, with voices overlapping and tempers flaring. Some advocated for further engagement and cultural exchange, emphasizing the potential benefits of an alliance with the Gilthara. Others, however, voiced concerns about the unknown risks and the need for a more cautious approach. Dr. Santos raised her hand for attention. "Captain, could you elaborate on the technological advancements of the Gilthara? How do they compare to our own?" "They're ahead of us in many areas," Sarah said. "Their energy sources are incredibly efficient, and their navigational systems are far superior. We have a lot to learn from them, if we're willing to open our minds." Senator Langston shook his head. "That's precisely the issue. We don't know enough. We can't just blindly trust them." As the debate raged on, Sarah felt the pressure mounting. Her crew too looked weary and stressed, caught in the crossfire of conflicting opinions. Later that evening, Sarah gathered her crew in a private room at the spaceport. "We need to stay united," she told them. "This isn't just about us anymore. It's about the future of humanity's relationship with the Gilthara." "What are we going to do, Captain?" asked Ensign Patel. "How do we convince them that cooperation is the way forward?" Sarah pondered for a moment. "We need to show them the evidence, the recordings from our mission, the data we collected, the personal testimonies. We need to make them see what we saw." The following day, Sarah and her crew presented their findings to the panel, showing video footage of their interactions with the Gilthara, the challenges they faced together, and the mutual respect that developed. They shared personal stories of bravery, humor, and friendship. "I hope this helps you understand," Sarah concluded. "The Gilthara are not our enemies. They are potential allies, and we have much to gain from working together." The room fell silent as the panel absorbed the information. Finally, Senator Langston spoke. "Captain Anders, your testimony is compelling, but we must proceed with caution. There are still many unknowns." Dr. Santos, however, smiled warmly. "You've given us hope, Captain. I believe this is the beginning of a new era for humanity." As the panel deliberated, Sarah felt a sense of accomplishment. They had done everything they could to advocate for a peaceful future. Now, all they could do was wait and hope that the leaders of Earth would choose the path of cooperation over fear. "Whatever happens next, I'm proud of you all," Sarah said to her crew. "We've done something extraordinary." They nodded in agreement, their bond stronger than ever after everything they had endured together. The fate of their mission, and possibly the future of humanity, was now in the hands of Earth's leaders. Chapter 6. Triumph and Transformation. The battle station erupted in chaos as alarms blared and warning lights flashed. Captain Sarah Anders stood at the helm of the Horizon, her eyes fixed on the main view screen where the rogue Zilthara ship loomed menacingly. The rogue faction had launched a desperate counterattack, their last attempt to derail the peace process. "All hands to battle stations," Sarah commanded, her voice steady despite the tension. "Jackson, I need evasive maneuvers. Patel, get me a status update on our shields." "We're holding, but just barely," Patel reported, his fingers flying over the console. "That last hit took out our port-side deflectors." "Rerouting power to the forward shields," Jackson added, his face a mask of concentration. "We need to buy time for the Zilthara reinforcements to arrive." On the view screen, the rogue ship unleashed another barrage, but this time the Horizon was ready. The ship shuddered under the impact, but the shields held firm. "Captain, incoming message from Shalketh," Patel said. "Patching it through now." Shalketh's holographic image flickered to life in front of Sarah. "Captain Anders, we are en route with reinforcements. Hold the line a little longer." "We'll do our best," Sarah replied. "Just get here fast." The rogue faction's ship closed in, and Sarah knew they needed to act decisively. "Jackson, set a course straight for them. Patel, prepare all weapons systems." "We're going on the offensive?" Jackson asked, a hint of surprise in his voice. "We're not just holding the line," Sarah said firmly. "We're breaking through it." As the Horizon charged towards the enemy ship, the crew worked in perfect sync. Laser fire and missile salvos erupted from the Horizon, striking the rogue vessel with precision. Explosions rippled across the enemy ship's hull, but it remained resilient. "Captain, their shields are failing!" Patel shouted. "One more hit should do it." "Fire all weapons," Sarah ordered. "Let's end this." The Horizon unleashed a final, devastating barrage. The rogue ship shuddered and then began to break apart, pieces of its hull scattering into the void. A cheer erupted from the Horizon's bridge. "We did it, Captain," Jackson said, a broad grin on his face. But Sarah remained focused. "Patel, any sign of other enemy vessels?" "Negative, Captain," Patel replied. "It looks like that was their last stand." The tension in the room eased as the realization of their victory sank in. Shalketh's hologram reappeared, his expression one of relief and gratitude. "Captain Anders, you and your crew have proven your worth today. The Zilthara will not forget this." "Thank you, Shalketh," Sarah replied. "We couldn't have done it without your support." With the immediate threat neutralized, the Horizon and the Zilthara reinforcements regrouped. The rogue faction's remnants were rounded up, and the station was secured. The successful defense not only preserved the peace, but also solidified the bond between humans and Jilthara. In the days that followed, Sarah and her crew participated in joint ceremonies and celebrations with the Jilthara. The two species shared stories, laughter, and visions of a united future. The Galactic Assembly, inspired by their cooperation, moved forward with plans for further integration and collaboration. "Captain, we've received an official commendation from the Galactic Assembly," Patel announced during a crew meeting. "They're recognizing both the Horizon and the Jilthara for our efforts." "Well deserved," Sarah said, looking around at her crew with pride. "We've come a long way from our first awkward encounters." Lieutenant Jackson chuckled. "Remember when Patel mistook that sacred Jilthara artifact for a paperweight?" Patel rolled his eyes good-naturedly. "How could I forget? But we've all learned so much since then." Dr. Chen nodded. "This experience has transformed us all. We've not only proven our capabilities, but also forged lasting friendships." As the Horizon prepared for its next mission, Sarah took a moment to reflect in her quarters. The journey had been filled with challenges, misunderstandings, and moments of doubt, but it had also been a testament to the resilience and ingenuity of her crew. Sarah activated her personal log and began to record her thoughts. "Today, we stand on the brink of a new era. The encounter with the Jilthara has changed us in ways we couldn't have imagined. We've learned that through courage, teamwork, and a bit of humor, we can overcome any obstacle. The bonds we've forged and the lessons we've learned will guide us as we venture further into the stars." She paused, looking out the window at the vast expanse of space. "The Horizon is setting course for new adventures, and whatever challenges await us, I know we'll face them together. Here's to the future, and to the incredible journey that lies ahead." With that, she ended the recording and joined her crew on the bridge. The Horizon hummed with energy and anticipation as it embarked on its next mission. Sarah felt a surge of excitement, knowing that no matter what lay ahead, they were ready. "Let's get to it," she said, taking her seat at the helm. "We've got a universe to explore." The Horizon leaped into hyperspace, leaving behind the echoes of past misadventures and heading toward the promise of new horizons. The journey continued, fueled by the courage and spirit of humanity and their newfound Jilthara allies.